Hello, Lansing Catholic. Welcome back to the Cougar Daily. I'm Father Paul, and with me, as always, is my co-host,
Mr. Pohl, and we're very glad to have joining us a very special guest, and that is
Mr. Warriner.
Hey, it's Mr. Warriner.
Yay.
How's it going there, Mr. Warriner?
It's going well. Getting a little bored of being stuck at home.
Fair enough.
We have the family day after day after day after day.
Sounds like a blast.
It's fun.
Well, we're here to brighten your day, Mr. Warriner.
Yes, now you get to spend the day with us. Lucky you.
Or at least the next 15 minutes. So, all right, well, let's jump into our meme of the day. And I made sure to make sure that they are very relevant for Mr. Warriner, since he says he has trouble with memes sometimes.
Those memes.
Here's the first one. Remember these commercials?
Yeah. Hey, pass the gray poop on, please.
That's right.
Pardon me.
And then there's this one. So these are actually courtesy of Mrs. Gavin. Mrs. Gavin sent these to me.
Good work, Mrs. Gavin.
Yep, they're from a series about memes from the 80s.
Excellent.
That was my genre.
That's right. That's right. I do remember different movies with quicksand being a very big deal, and then
Yes.
over time, suddenly quicksand wasn't a problem, and it's not in movies anymore.
I actually don't think quicksand is even a real thing. Is that a real thing that exists in the world?
Yeah, you're in the science department, Mr. Warriner.
Quicksand does exist.
It does?
Yep.
Where?
Just not in the Midwest. It's more of like muck sand.
Hmm.
Or a big muck pile that you get stuck in.
Well, there you go. We learned something new. Learn something new with Mr. Warriner. I like it.
An educational moment with Mr. Warriner.
Useless facts.
Right. All right. So we have a special video to share here. This is the very first Grey Poupon ad. Just like we always do when we're riding the backseat of a car.
Right. Having a nice fancy dinner.
Pardon me, would you have any Grey Poupon?
But of course. Grey Poupon, one of life's finer pleasures.
Excellent.
Yes, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Well,
Yes.
you know what that makes me think of? That most of my students know Mr. Warriner is very frugal / cheap. I don't even buy Grey Poupon. I buy the generic Meyer brand of Grey Poupon. It's called Clay. It's Clay Poupon. I usually
That's
save
awesome.
about 42 cents a bottle.
That's fantastic.
You got to go through a lot of that to make it worth it. All right. So, in case you weren't aware, Mr. Warriner, Grey Poupon has apparently made it into many rap songs.
Because it is the epitome of wealth and sophistication.
That's
And
right.
that-
So
and that's what everybody's looking for.
There's a 10-minute video here all explaining how Grey Poupon made it into so many rap hits. So we're just going to play a little bit of it.
2007 to 2016, a huge percentage of Grey Poupon songs ranked on the Billboard charts or were on albums that did. The commercial itself probably had little to do with the recent rise of Grey Poupon in lyrics.
This is where I want to correct her. She suggested that the Grey Poupon commercials did not have an effect or little effect on the rise of Grey Poupon in lyrics.
Look,
if it wasn't for the commercial,
look at 2011. Look
who
at
would be rapping about Grey Poupon?
the spike in Grey Poupon songs are.
Incredible.
I love it.
Incredible. Well, Mr. Warriner, I believe what we've really come here for today is for you to share a very special announcement. So we don't want to steal any of your thunder.
So this is to all my students out there. And this might be a shock to Father Paul and Ben, but I do regret to tell the kids that unfortunately I will be back next year. I'm going to be teaching health, personal fitness, team sports, and I'm going to be bigger. Unfortunately, I'm definitely bigger. I'm going to be badder than ever. So it's on for next year.
All right.
20.
That's
Mr.
right.
Warner's comeback. It's my comeback year.
There you have it, Mr. Warner's unretirement.
And I do feel retired right now.
Or just tired.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, Mr. Warner, we're going to see, all this time away from the car and driving and instructing. We're going to see if you still have your
Still got it.
driving know-how. We got a few videos here. This is all, there's 5 videos here. They're all from this one person in this town in British Columbia, his security camera outside of his home. It looks just like your average intersection.
Right. It doesn't look complicated or
Nope.
anything. It's
Just see, Mr. Warner, doesn't that look normal?
That looks like a normal, yeah.
yeah.
Little parking lot here might cause some issues.
Yeah.
Those entrances and exits, this, like,
I don't think it even goes out there. That's
Stop
like
sign,
a
but-
handicap.
No, that doesn't go out there, but
Yeah.
this right here, that
Yeah.
if it's not supposed to be used, you'll see in a little bit.
Oh, great.
Here we go.
That was probably an optional stop sign.
No.
So, Mr. Warner, how many things were wrong in that video? many-
Well, one, it was a rolling stop, which the kids like to do, which you tell them you got to stop, you got to search in all directions. And there is a little bit of an issue with this intersection because it does jog to the right, which does make it a little bit more challenging.
Mm.
So I could see that as being a little bit of a problem.
So really, that was the bus driver's fault.
All right, next video. That's not a good idea. let's rewind that
He
one
was
again.
in a hurry. I don't know what they do in that other building, but he wanted to get away from there.
How many things are wrong in that video, Mr. Warner?
Well, he needs to, anytime you cross a sidewalk like that, you're supposed to legally stop. And then, of course, you got to stop for the stop sign. So that's 2 violations. It didn't look like he had time to search the intersection. So that's another point off. So
Especially with the roads look slick today. It looks like it's been raining a little bit.
Yeah, that's ever more reason to go a little slower.
And my guess is we couldn't quite tell with this video quality, but my guess is he didn't use his blinker coming out of that parking lot.
Yes, to let the person behind him know.
That's right. All right, this one, perhaps the most shocking.
Whoa, what the heck? What the heck? Whoa!
So this would be the south side of me coming out. It looks like it's a drug deal. The lights are on. You got a guy in his bicycle. The SUV's just turning around. The guy with the hazard light should have backed up for him. That's pretty obvious. He could have helped him out.
So who's at fault there? Is that the biker's fault
For
for stopping the other car?
Well, the drug dealer on the bike didn't help things there.
Yeah. Right.
Ben, yeah, you might have to do a little editing now.
All right.
The guy with his hazard lights, it was pretty obvious he was going to back up. So back up, help him out.
This is it's my favorite right here.
Oh, this is
a little
at
bonus
night,
here.
so this one's even a little bit more tricky.
It's a little hard to see. You kind of got to watch closely.
Wait.
Again, this brings me back to my youth. I think I've had this happen to me a couple times. I'm on my bike, a cop pulls up behind me, I'm trying to outrun him. This seems normal to me, Ben.
That dude is pedaling fast. He needs to switch into a higher gear if he wants to outrun those guys. Now it looks like, I will say, it looks like the biker stops at the stop sign to look both ways. So as far as the traffic laws are concerned, he might have actually done the best.
That is true. That is true. Well,
in my health class, I had a similar incident where a kid broke into one of our cars, and I literally chased him with my van, and I go up into a driveway. The bike goes up, I follow him up in my van, and I open the door and I'm like, I got you now. And I run to the backyard, and then there's no fence in the backyard, so the kid keeps riding. And then the next yard doesn't have a fence, and then the next yard, and then the next yard. It was like 8 yards in a row, and then he goes down a driveway a block later. I'm running after him, and I'm thinking, who doesn't own a fence anymore? You need a fence. Somebody has a dog in this neighborhood. I was very upset nobody had a fence. And then if I'd have caught the kid, I don't even know what I would have done. I might have got myself beat up.
Right. Well, we got, for all the drivers in those videos, we have a little public service announcement for them in case they're wondering what to do.
Only one can win Stovetop Genius.
Jeannie, describe your dish.
Yes, chef. It's a charred scallop confit with lemon and herbs.
Everyone makes mistakes.
I'm tasting a lot of texture, hints of ash, a rich, smoky quality.
But what if life was as forgiving as the General?
Congratulations, you're in.
At the General, we'll cover you, even with a less than perfect driving record. For a great low rate you can get online, go to the General and save some time.
Now, Mr. Warriner, do you think you could grow out a mustache like the General? That is something to aspire to.
No, I cannot. Father, what you have on your face is very impressive.
Oh, thank you.
I can't do that either.
Yeah, it's coming in all right, actually.
But when your face looks this good, you really don't want to hide it. You want to show it off.
That's a good point, and that's why mine's covered.
I'm not saying that. I'm sure there's a good-looking man up under that.
Oh man!
All right, Mr. Warriner. Any final words before Father Paul introduces our saint of the day?
Final word? Yes. Let's just try to stay active. Do your part in all this. Stay at home. Be safe. Don't make sure you're washing your hands, not touching your face, and get out a little bit. Be active. Social distance on your walks. Things like that. We'll get through this, but it's tough for everybody. I know. It's tough for Mr. Warriner. My family, again, I'm with my family every second of every minute of every hour of every day, after day, after day.
Your wife's not in the room, is she?
or your kids?
No, she's gone. I can say that when she's gone.
All right. Father Paul, how about our saint of the day?
So today we're going to be talking about one of probably the most popular saints, but one that people probably don't know too much about, St. Patrick. So St. Patrick actually isn't Irish by descent. He's actually English, and there was an Irish pirate raiding party that came to Patrick's village. They captured Patrick, took him as a slave back to Ireland, where he was forced to tend sheep in the countryside of Ireland. And it was during that time that he had obviously a ton of time by himself with just him and the sheep. And that's where he really had kind of his conversion moments. So he had just a ton of time in the quiet and the beauty of the Irish countryside to pray and to reflect on different aspects of his life. he actually wrote a really wonderful book. He calls it the Confessions, similar to Saint Augustine, who wrote his Confessions, kind of like an autobiography. He eventually escapes from captivity, goes back to England, but feels called by God to return to what he calls the land of the Druids, right, which is a pagan territory. He feels called to go back to Ireland to spread Christianity. So he comes back to Ireland, is eventually ordained a bishop, and his evangelization efforts in Ireland obviously are tremendous, as Ireland is even today one of the most Catholic countries in the world. And so that's a little bit about St. Patrick. Yeah.
Father, you had me at Irish Raid. Like every St. Patty's Day is an Irish Raid.
That's exactly right.
St. Patrick is in my top 5. I got St. Christopher number 1.
Well, he's good. We talked about Christopher last week or 2 weeks ago.
St. Xavier number 3 on my list.
Nice.
That's my confirmation name.
I like it.
Sweet. Well, Mr. Warriner, can you lead us in our spiritual theme prayer as we close the episode?
Yes, I can. Heavenly Father, you are the source of life and virtue. Thank you for the goodness you have shown to our school community. Make us a people of hope, encouraging others and building them up, following Jesus' word and teaching so that our joy may be complete. Give us the grace to be patient and persevering in times of trouble, disappointment, confusion, and fear, and to trust in the Son's promise. I will be with you always. Help us to stay connected to you in prayer and focused on your heart of love for us. Always be aware that you are the Father of mercy and the God of all consolation. We offer this prayer and our entire day in faith through your Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Cool. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Warriner.
Yeah, it was great having you on.
Oh, thank you for having me on. I'm very excited to have the opportunity to be whatever this is called, Cougar. Cougar. What is the name of this podcast called? Cougar Activities? Cougar.
I'm very excited to be part of this very prestigious and wonderful thing that you have.
All right, what is it called? And if I want to actually watch Mr. Wenslick's, how do I access
Cougar Daily. It's on YouTube. You can just search for my name because it's on my channel. Just search for Ben Pole. You'll get a bunch of British or German engineers and stuff talking about smart things, and then you'll find me.
And then you'll find us
on this thing.
I would encourage kids to not Google Mr. Warriner, by the way. Okay, please do not Google Mr. Warriner. Lucy, you have some explaining to do.
We'll see if any of our students get that reference.
That's right. All right. Well, that's it for today. Cougars, we hope you join us tomorrow. We have another senior student who's going to be on the show tomorrow, and then on Friday we have a very special.
Who's the student? You got me intrigued.
We don't reveal until the episode.
You got to watch.
Yep. And then Friday we have a very special celebrity guest. So, yeah.
Very exciting.
I wish I was on Friday. I can't believe you put me midweek.
Maybe you are. Maybe you are. Maybe you are again on Friday. You just don't remember.
That's right.
In your old age, you have forgotten.
I'll forget I did this in a day or two, so just bring me back.
All right, we should wrap this up.
Good call. Let's get her done.
All right. It's been fun, Mr. Warriner. Thanks a lot for being with us. All right, Lansing Catholic, we'll talk to you later.
All right,
God bless.
God bless.